Hi, welcome back to Laptop Seniors. We happen to be in Lisbon, Portugal today, and we have the pleasure of being able to ask some questions of Evelin here, who's with us. And she was the smiling face greeting us here when we checked into the hotel, the Heritage Liberdade hotel, boutique hotel here in Lisbon. It's a beautiful hotel. Your smiling face and efficiency made the check-in very, very nice.
Thank you.
I'm going to step out of the frame so you can focus on Evelyn, and we're just going to ask some questions of her off screen. And be sure to subscribe if you would like to hear more about our adventures in Portugal. Evelyn, being behind the desk here, you have a lot of people coming from North America, I'm sure, and everywhere. What are the most asked questions that you get?
Okay. So mainly the most asked questions are where can I go to? Where can I go to have dinner? What are the most attractive parts of Lisbon? And how to get there? Those are the main questions that I normally get here.
Very tourist questions. Do you ever encounter people that are looking to explore Lisbon, to live here, and asking questions about the neighborhoods and so on?
A few, but not as much as we would think there would be. So the ones who come to live, they normally ask about if it's secure, where they can go to, what are the calmest places to go to, because the area that we are in here right now is a very touristic part, so it's downtown Lisbon, and so you have a lot of movement, a lot of tourists, and normally people who come here want calmer parts in Portugal, in Lisbon in general.
Well, that makes sense because this area where we are right now, to us, feels almost like the Rodeo Drive of Lisbon, right?
Yes.
I mean, all the designer shops are down this street.
Exactly.
It's a beautiful boulevard, and yeah, I can imagine everybody wants to stay in this area.
Yes.
You mentioned to us that you immigrated here from Brazil. Was it 2 years ago-ish?
It was 3 years and a half.
3.5?
Yes, ish. And I've been here since then. In the beginning, I had a little bit of difficulty because it's the same language, it's Portuguese the same way, but they do have different accents. And you can do a parallel with the British English and the American English, where you have different accents and different words. And so that was a challenge for me for sure. And the cultural in general, but with time you go getting used to it and you go emerging into the culture of the place that you're in. So nowadays I consider that I'm already immersed into the culture, and I can already do everything with more fluidness.
You're already one step ahead, and that you can speak Portuguese. That would be a big step. But how hard to meet strangers and have them become friends? Easy?
Not that easy, for sure.
Okay.
Not that easy.
Did you connect with any of the expat groups that were also new here to Lisbon?
Yes, for sure. So in the beginning when I came, I lived in a hostel. So that was something that helped me out with. Okay, so I was able to get in contact with several people from all over the world, and that helped me in the beginning. And afterwards, I did start working and get to know locals as well. That helped me a little bit as well, but mostly with foreigners. So I'm from Brazil. I normally, in the beginning, I would have a lot of facility to work with Brazilians because they already are there, they're already in the culture. So in the beginning, it's easier that way.
Was the expat community or people that you met or where you went, were they mainly Portuguese speaking or were they English speaking, or both?
You do have some Americans and some people from all over the European Union, but mainly Brazilians, yes, in the beginning.
Did you come by yourself, Evelyn?
I came by myself, but my dad does have a third-degree cousin that he knew when he was younger, and him and his family did receive me here in the beginning. So when I got here, it was March 7th, if I'm not mistaken, and then 1 week afterwards, everything closed. And so they gave me a support in the beginning because of COVID and everything.
Wow.
Yes, and then afterwards I got a job, moved, and was able to make my life here, yes.
Well, you are a brave young
Thank
lady
you.
coming to another country
Yes.
on your own.
But I did think of going back, of course, when everything started closing. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I stay here or not. But since they did give me really good support in the beginning, then I stayed.
Did you know or look into what was required of you to live here in terms of a visa and that sort of thing? What was that like?
I came actually as a tourist, and for Brazilians, for example, we do have some facilities. And afterwards, I entered with a manifestation of interest, which is not the best way to come. Then you have to work, and then afterwards, through the process, after around 2 years and a half, I got my authorization, which is the real authorization. But my sister, who came recently, she came with the working visa from Brazil, and so her process was way faster than mine.
So she applied for the visa in Brazil before she came?
Exactly.
Oh.
It was a new visa for a working visa, so she can come, search for work. You have 3 months to get a contract. It has to be a contract, not Recibo Verde, because here you do have 2 ways of working, or by Recibo Verde, which is as if you were working for yourself, or by a contract. So she has had to get a contract to be able to qualify for the authorization through that visa.
Have you stayed in touch with some of the other expats that you met when you first came?
For sure.
So they became your circle of friends?
Yes, some of them, of course. I made some more and got to know a lot of the Portuguese culture, and in the beginning it was easier, of course, to interact with people that was around there, was in the hostel, and afterwards at work I got to know more Portuguese, and I got to know other people as well. And especially now working in the hotel field, then I get to know all of the cultures, of course.
Right. Just as a note to our viewers, the hostels here are quite something. They're definitely what I would say an upscale hostel. I've looked at some of them online, and they look quite nice, and they give you some privacy with your bed screening and that
Yes.
sort of thing. Did you feel safe when you were here by yourself in Lisbon to begin with?
Yes, I did. It was one of the my criterias, because every time I would search for a place to live, it was the main criteria, safetyness.
Sometimes coming and going at night, you'd want to make sure you're safe coming home in the dark.
Yes. So, for example, when I first came to live in the hostel, so the hostel is actually on the street behind us, up front, okay, on the street behind us. It's called Rua de Santa Marta. So my criteria was, okay, I'm next to the metro station, I'm next to the train station, which are 2 things that I need to get to my job, and the area is very secure. So mainly here, I could say what you have to be careful with is pickpockets, but other than that, it's very secure.
What are the neighborhoods that you thought would be suitable for you? You're saying this area, but is this area affordable for everybody?
It is not, unless you want, for example, a room. If you're renting a room, you can find good rooms around here, but for sure it's not the most affordable area in Lisbon, for sure not. And then the second place in Lisbon that I lived in was São Domingos de Benfica, and that area is a very calm area, which would give me also access to the train station and would give me access to the blue line, the metro line, which was a criteria as well.
Yeah.
And it's more affordable for sure. That would be number one.
Number one.
São Domingos de Benfica. I lived there for 2 years.
You're seeing a map on the screen right now. Every time she mentions a different area that she's familiar with, obviously can't be familiar with the entire city, but on the map you'll be able to see all of Lisbon with a section carved out and that's, you know, particular area. So in number one, that area, whatever that long word was that you just said.
São Domingos, yes.
I was like, wow. Thank God she had a word on there like that. I can tell what you're talking about. A typical one-bedroom apartment. I mean, what do they call it here? They don't call it one bedroom here. They call it.
It's for example, there are T0s, which is like a studio without rooms. Actually, you have the kitchen and you have the bedroom all together,
Yep.
and then you have the T1, which has one bedroom, and then you have the
T2 is a two-bedroom.
yes, two bedroom.
T3.
Yes,
Okay.
and
Good
therefore
to know. Yeah.
yes,
And they all have a private washroom.
yes, they all
Yes.
have a private washroom.
So they're a self-contained apartment. So
Exactly.
T0, T1, T2.
yes.
So roughly in that area one, a T0 would cost roughly how much? I mean, your ballpark.
Roughly around 700.
Okay, yeah.
Yes,
And
700 euros a
Yes.
month.
for T0,
for T0.
T1 would be how much more?
I would say around 850 maybe.
Okay, so another $150.
Yes.
You have any idea? Any guess for it? You probably wouldn't have been looking for a T2. You think it would jump up another $150 or less?
Actually, a T2 would be a way more expensive.
Really?
I think it would be around 1,200 if I'm not mistaken.
1,200?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Wow. So are there other
Okay.
areas on the map, other numbers that you would have sort of numbers, you know, like if someone wanted to live in a different area, would the prices be roughly the same or higher? Lower?
For example, for this area right here, it would be around 800 T0, 950 for T1, roughly, okay? Roughly, yes.
You said that you lived in the number one area, I won't try to
Yes.
say it, for about 2 years.
Yes.
Where did you go from there and why did you leave?
I just got out of there because the contract finished.
And what area did you look at when you moved from there?
I actually wanted a place near there, which is called Praça de Espanha.
And what number would that area be?
Praça de Espanha. It's near São Domingos, actually. The rent was a bit higher than I expected, okay? But it was a very calm area. And then I found a place here with a rent a little bit more in count. I paid $390 for a room with French balcony as well, but not that big. And the other one would be a bit bigger, for sure.
And so you're not in a self-contained apartment like a T0, you're renting a room with a
Rooms.
shared common space.
Exactly.
Are there other areas of Lisbon that you've discovered that you think are nice to live and maybe more affordable than some of the expensive areas?
Okay, so nice to live. For example, São Domingos, really good to live, especially if you're looking for something calm, okay? Alvalade is a nice place to live as well. It's like a calmer place, but a little bit more expensive than São Domingos it's the two area.
Number two?
Yes, number two.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. But Benfica, there are some areas here that you have more affordable houses, but it really depends on the area that you're choosing there in Benfica, which is the area 6.
So some streets are better than other
Yes,
streets.
yes, for sure.
Right,
For
that's
sure.
in every city. Did you learn about any other areas in your searches that you want to talk about?
Estrela looks like an interesting place to live as well, although you don't have the metro station there. It's a little bit harder to dislocate in Estrela, which is not pointed out here, but it's right over here near Alcântara. And it's this one right over here. So you could put that like as a 7.
We'll make that number 7.
Yes. It's not that affordable, but you have nice houses there as well. You just don't have the metro station, and so you have to rely on buses if you do rely on public transportation.
Or you'll have a car.
Yes. Out of Lisbon, there is a really nice place called Loures, which is near. If you have a car, I really do suggest Loures.
Does that look like Lords in...
Loures, it's Loures.
Loures.
Loures, yes.
Loures.
So that would be an affordable place to buy houses, and a place that would be good for living, especially around there downtown. But you do have to have a car if you do work in Lisbon. And also for living, on the other side of the the river is another place that you can find affordable housing, which is Almada. And there you have the metro station on the superficie. So you can get around pretty nicely, okay? It doesn't work as frequently as our metro station here, but it works pretty well as well.
Is that up at the north end of the city?
It would be on the other side right here. Yes.
Oh, on the other side of the river.
Yes, on the other side of the river. It's called Almada. If you do work here, you'll have to get, if you're coming by car, maybe you get some traffic when you're going through the bridge. So that's a bad part as well. You're near one of a really good beach, which is Costa da Caparica. So it's perfect for who's retired. I even thought these days, me and my sister were thinking, okay, so Almada is a really good option because you have the metro system, you have good transportation, and it's a pretty place to go to with less expensive houses, and you have the beach right there. But it would be nice if we were working from home.
Yeah, so for digital nomads, that might be something to pay attention to.
Yes, for sure.
For retirees, that's a little bit of a different story, and I think everyone's going to be looking into your area by the beach. I know that we will. Thank you so much, Evelin. It was a pleasure meeting you, and definitely a pleasure having you interview with us on our channel. I'm sure that's lots of great information for our viewers, because we all want to know the best places to retire, right?
Thank you. It was a pleasure being here with you guys as well. And I hope I helped a little bit.
Absolutely. So please be sure, if you haven't yet, to subscribe, click that bell so that you will be notified when more videos about Portugal drop. Come back and see us again soon.